Good morning, everyone. Hi, I'm Reen Wilcoxon, owner of Embroidery Garden, and welcome to my October demo. I was just over on Facebook making sure that it was streaming to Facebook. Something changed on Facebook right as I was, planning everything, getting this all announced and everything. So I want to make sure it was working. So yeah, I see people commenting from Facebook and from YouTube. Thank you again for joining me. Janice has had snow. My goodness, it feels like we're going to get snow. It is so cold here in Indiana right now. Phoenix is in the house. I see a lot of people coming in. Thank you so much. This has been a highly anticipated demo of mine, the candy bag. So while people are joining in, let's talk about a few things. First and foremost, the giveaway that I'm going to be doing live at the end of the demo. You need to comment only one time, #garden. And if you look at your screen up in that corner, should be this corner here, you see #garden, and you have to comment exactly like that. Okay, I see Caroline's here. Good morning. Judy's here. Lorinda, Annette, Virginia, Zeta. Welcome, everyone. So remember, #garden, exactly as it's shown here on the screen, just like this, to get in on the $20 gift card that will be drawn randomly at the end of the demo. Please only do it one time. If you do it more than once, it just kicks it out. There's a program running behind this demo that is gathering all of those #gardens. Okay, so let's talk about a few other things while I still see people rolling in. And so I'm going to be doing the bag, and we're going to be talking about this. This is my 6x10 zippered bag from the zippered bag set, which is my large set of zippered bags. There are 11 sizes in it. I've done several demos on, different things you can do with this set and show you how versatile it is. But the zippered bag set is on sale right now until October 18th. It's been on sale since I announced this demo. So if you don't have the zippered bag set, go ahead and grab it now while it's on sale until October 18th at midnight. One thing I want to do too is I'm going to grab a link here. And this link that I'm posting right now. Hi, Ashley. Thanks for joining me. Oops. Okay, so this link that I'm posting right now is a link to a page on my website that it shows you everything I'm going to talk about today. So everything is all in one place. You can open up in another window, kind of click on the products if you want to see them, etc. I do that for every demo. I always create a page. So let's talk about a few things that are coming up with Embroidery Garden before we get started. On October 25th, Caroline is doing another reversible bag class. So if you've missed it, here is the little bag. This is sewing. Okay, this is not in the hoop. This bag ends up probably measuring about, I think, 12 by 13 at least. It's got a really neat boxed bottom in it. And Caroline's going to show you how to make this. It's very easy. Can be used as a gift bag, and then everyone has a little bag. So this is one. Here's another sample of mine that I created a monogram for. Another one. This one's going to be a little Halloween bag. I don't have the drawstrings in it. And on this one, I'm going to put HTV vinyl. So I think something in lime green would look nice on that. Then after Caroline started doing this class, she came up with a way of doing a vinyl bag. So you get the instructions for this vinyl bag along with the, just reversible one that has the fabric on it too. And what I did then was I took it and I enlarged it a little bit and made it big enough for snowballs, some of my snowballs to fit in. So you get the instructions for all of that if you purchase the class. And on that link that I just put up, there are links to these things I'm talking about. So on October 27th, I'm going to be on with Eileen Roche from Dime. And I believe Barbara Douthit from All Brands is going to be there. And we're going to be on the Between Friends at 1 p.m. Central. And I believe we're going to be talking about the Houston Quilt Festival. So tune in for that. That's going to be on Dime's Facebook page. On the 29th, October 29th, Joanne Bako and I are continuing our Let's Get Creative series. And let's see, Joanne is doing I dropped it. I'm going to have to use my foot to get it. Joanne Banco is doing a really cute towel that she turns into a little gift bag, a quick, easy gift. So again, you get the bag and you get the towel as a gift to give someone. Excuse me while I bend down and grab my sample. What I'm going to be showing you is how to stitch on basswood. So this is actually wood. This is embroidery. It's a little coaster. I put felt on the back, and this is going to be my demo for the Let's Get Creative Club. The link is on that page too. That's on the 29th. Let's see, on November 2nd, I am hosting the Sally Tomato Embellished Handbag free virtual event. And that's going to be, you have to register for that, and it's free, and you can get that link at that page that I just posted. Let's see. So the next November 2nd to the 6th, I'm going to be at the Houston Quilt Festival. Anyone here going to go to the Quilt Festival? I'm kind of looking there. Yeah, if you're going to go to the Houston Quilt Festival, I'm going to be in the All Brands booth again this year, and I'm going to be representing Dime there. I'll be doing my demos on stage at 12:30 on that Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So if you are going to be at the Quilt Festival, stop by booth 1208 to see us. All Brands is going to have some great deals. Dime is going to have some great products there that I'll be showing. My friend Carrie Cunningham will be there. There's going to be lots of brother ambassadors, educators. So be sure to stop by if you're coming. If you're not, All Brands is going to be streaming some of it live virtually. So go to their page and you can find information on that to register to get that link to watch that. And let's see, what else? Just a couple more things. Giveaway happening on Embroidery Garden's Facebook page. This is for the Sally Tomato trifold wallet kit. So there's a contest, a giveaway going on Embroidery Garden's Facebook page where you can win the kit, and I'll send you the design, the 8x12 wallet design. So be sure to get in on that because I'm picking the winner on the 18th. And one more thing, favorite things. I know everyone loves Embroidery Garden's annual favorite things. It's off to a great start. I've already got several donations, and it's going to be on December 10th. If you follow me on Facebook or Instagram, you know what's happening with that and who my sponsors are, etc. So I see a lot more people have rolled in. Wow, we got a lot of people here today. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So first, I want to plug my iron in before I forget, because I do want to press my bag as I go. And just let me get it plugged in. Didn't want to plug it in earlier because I thought I would probably knock it off the table and burn myself. Okay, I see a lot of things, a lot of people making more comments and stuff. So remember, #garden. So let's talk about some of the bags and what I'm actually going to do. I'm going to change my camera view. So these are, again, my In the Hoop zippered bags. And what I'm doing is I'm taking candy bags. You could use, potato chip bags. This one here, I used a cough drop bag. If I bring it up a little bit, you can see where it says, what does it say? Soothes and relieves. And this was the cough drop bag. This is the 4x4 size bag. And I used the cough drop bag here on the front. This is fabric. I'll talk about using the bag on all the pieces, the front and back side. But, you have to make choices sometimes when you're doing these. And on the back of this one, I use the actual cough drop bag for the back side of this one. This one is the 5x7 bag. And this one, Michelle Gilmartin actually sent me the kit because she did this in a class for Brother one year. But this is the 5x7. The blow pop candy bag is this section here. She actually found fabric, blow pop fabric for this one. And this one has fabric at the top. The backside of this one is the actual candy bag. And then she made a cute little tag that she sent me to go along with this one. So this is the 5x7. This one, I believe, is the 6x10, except you're going to notice, maybe you can notice it's a little bit shorter. It's not quite as long. And I'm going to talk to you about kind of altering that design file a little bit, just slightly sometimes, to make your bag fit. This bag actually came from Japan. You can see the Japanese writing here. My friend Michelle went to Japan and she got candy bags for a lot of her friends, basically to make the bags out of. So this is the actual candy bag here. This one has fabric at the top. And on this one, I used the candy bag again on the back side. Now, sometimes you can use the candy bag for the back side. You can use the candy bag for this area here and here. But the problem is, it all depends on the size of the bag and the graphics, etc. And I'm going to talk about that. And Cindy, I'm going to get into opening up the bag here in just a moment. This is the 9x9 bag that's in the set. So again, this is the candy bag here. This one has fabric on the back side, and this one has fabric up here. On this one, I cut out little bats out of Caesar HTV glitter vinyl and just kind of, stuck those on after it was done to, just kind of add a little something to this bag. So here are the bag. This is the bag, though, that I'm going to be doing today. And both of these bags were made out of the same bag, not meaning I used one bag. They're two separate bags, but it's the exact same candy bag that I used. And this one is the 6x10. And this one is, what did I say? The 9. Let me just check here. Yeah, this one's the 9x9. Both of these, I use fabric at the top and fabric on the back sides. And the reason is due to the size of the bag. I was not able to get, a piece big enough for the back out of one bag. If you wanted to buy multiple bags and use 3 or 4 bags to make one of the bags, that's an option for you too. I kind of like this, where you're just using the front of the bag here, the main focal point, and then using fabric for the front and back side of the bag. I kind of like that option best, but it's all up to you. So again, these were the 2 bags that I made out of this candy bag. And I haven't opened it yet. It's still, how I bought it from the store. What I want to say too is when you go to the store and you get your candy bag and you put it inside of, your shopping bag to bring it home, take it out of the bag immediately as soon as you get it home, meaning take this whole bag out of your shopping bag and lay it flat and try to keep it like that until you're ready to use it. You don't want your candy bag getting wrinkles and creases, etc. in it. So try to keep it, nice and flat. One thing I want you to notice, even though I used this bag on, each of these, you're going to see how, due to the size and shape of the bag, I was able to use more of the bag than I did in other places. So on this 6x10, since this area is only about, 1, 2, 3, maybe really only about 4 inches here, I was able to use, this part of the bag. And then I think I got to the breaking word. And that's what I could use on this bag. On this bag, since it is deeper, I was able to use more of this bag, get more of the graphics in. One thing that I do want to say on some of the bags you're going to find, and you're going to have this little clear area. See, this is the candy that's in the bag, but the area is actually clear. So you have to do something with this area. Otherwise, you're going to see batting on the front of your bag. So if you do have a clear area, all you're going to do is, I kind of measured this little clear area. I added 1/2 inch to the height and the width. And then I cut a piece of fabric that I used here at the top. This is showing up as blue, but it's actually a real pretty purple. And I just laid it down in that area. I used, I believe I used a glue stick to make sure that it stayed where I wanted it. And then I did the stipple over it. So that I just kind of put something behind there so you wouldn't see the batting. And the bags in the set come with stippling on them, all sizes, and they come without stippling. I suggest you stipple the front of the bag. One thing, it helps to add structure. And when we get into cutting our bag and getting the bag prepped, you're going to end up with some small wrinkles, etc. Doing the stippling, it kind of hides everything. If I can kind of hold it up, see, it looks nice and smooth. That stippling will hide everything. Okay, so let's talk about opening up our candy bag, getting it ready. I'm going to look to see if there's any questions. I see people talking about eating the candy. Yeah, I did kind of eat a few of them. I try not to eat very many of them. Seeing if I see any other questions before I go on. All right, so the most important thing with the candy bag is to try and save as much of the bag as you can when you open it. You need every bit of the bag. You want to save as much width on the bag as you can and as much height on the bag as you can. Mary, I have seen people use pet food bags also. Really any kind of a bag will work. And again, all bags are different. Okay, so this bag, this one happens to be 10.29 ounces. It's crimped here on the edge. That's how they closed it. If we look at the back of the bag, we see there's this is where the bag is put together. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a craft knife and I'm going to start right here at the edge. And I'm going to cut the bag from here, and then I'm going to go all the way down to here. So let me get that started. You can use a craft knife or you can use scissors, whatever you're comfortable with. You want to be careful with your bag. Some of the bags are not, very strong. You might rip a bag, so you do want to be careful with it. I'm going to grab my scissors and finish cutting this open. So I'm just, actually on this bag, I'm cutting where there was just a clear little spot. There's no graphics, nothing on it. So I can carefully now try to get the candy out. Again, you don't rip your bag. You want to be very careful with it. These bags, I'm not going to say they're fragile, but they're not, the most sturdy thing. Let me try to get rid of this candy before I eat it. All right, so I've got my bag open on the back side here. Now these crimped edges, in the past, I have tried to pull them apart here. And if you do it carefully, it might work. I said might. I tried it on one of the bags, and when I tried to do that, I ripped the bag. So be very careful. Just be very careful opening up the bag. I saw someone ask about how do you know which bag to use for which zipper bag. I'll talk about that a little bit more as soon as we get this bag opened. So my main graphics are here, and I need every bit of width that I can keep here. So what I'm going to do is, I know from making this bag previously, I am not going to be able to use fabric here at the top, or I'm sorry, the candy bag here at the top or on the back side, unless I purchased probably 2 more bags. So on this one, I'm going to just take the edge here. I'm right up against this crimped area. And I'm just going to cut ever so carefully to this top fold on both sides. Again, you want to save as much of your bag as you possibly can. And you're not going to know if you're going to have enough to do this piece or the back side until you've cut your bag fully open and you know how much you have to work with here. All right, so I've got this piece, and now I'm going to do the exact same thing down here, cutting it close as I can to that crimped area, all the way up here to this fold. And I'm doing the same thing on this side. And let me just make sure I get it. I'm going slow because you want to go slow. You want to be very careful. Okay, I didn't get quite this one all the way, so let me just nip it there. All right, so now here's my bag cut open. On the 6x10 bag, so now I can measure my bag, this candy bag, a little bit. And I have 1/2-inch marks on my cutting mat. So if I go over here to the side, you can see I am right at 11 inches across. The 6x10 zipper bag for fabric requires you to have a 12-inch piece in the instructions. That's why you can't go by the instructions for piece A, piece E, or piece G. Okay, I'm going to talk about cutting and stuff here in a second. Jennifer, I don't want to cut this crimped area off because I need this. I need all the width I can get. That's why I couldn't use this up here. If I would have had the crimped area up here, I could have used this for the top of my bag above the zipper. But you can already see, look at that. I'm just right at the bare minimum. I might have an 1/8-inch seam allowance, which would not be good. So this is the main part of the bag I want. So I'm leaving the crimped area there. Again, you want to have as much width as you can get on the bags. Okay, so now that the bag is cut, I want to talk about some of the other supplies that we need. Okay, so here's all my stuff. And again, what I just said was you can cut all the pieces per the instructions except for pieces B, E, and G. Glinda, there's not going to be any written instructions for this part. My zippered bags using fabric come with instructions. You want to use a candy bag, you're going to have to refer to this video, which the video will stay on Embroidery Garden's Facebook page and will stay on my YouTube channel. So you can watch it anywhere on those outlets. So here are the pieces cut for the bag, except for piece B, which is this piece E, which is this piece, and piece G, which is the back of the bag. Now, I will tell you though, I already went ahead and I cut B and G because I've made this previously and I knew I would not have enough bag and I wasn't going to buy extra bags to get those pieces. So here are all my pieces with my batting cut. Again, it's the 6x10 hoop. I've already done the zipper. I'll talk about that in a second, but I did the zipper to save a little bit of time. I'm using no-show mesh stabilizer. You're going to need your bag. We're going to prep the bag here in a second because we're going to be using this product called Vinyl Fuse. And I've cut a piece that I'm going to be using. A Vinyl Fuse, it says it's an iron-on vinyl protection. So we aren't going to be ironing it. Do not iron it onto the front of your candy bag. I did that in the past. I would do it that way. And what I found is when you do it, you're ironing wrinkles in, okay? You want to avoid as many wrinkles as you can. You're still going to get some wrinkles on your bag, but you will minimize that if you do not iron this down. We're going to use it, but we're not going to iron it. And this is the clear gloss finish. It does come in a matte, but it does come in a matte finish, but I prefer the gloss because it keeps this shiny. Use the matte, it's going to dull it down a little bit. Camera, if you wanted to turn the bag and have it, going this way, you could, but your graphic is not going in the correct direction. Some people are picky about, how the graphic looks on their finished bag. Some people aren't. I want my graphic to be going the way that the bag goes. And, I want to save as much graphic as I can. And I'll tell you, I get a little picky about where things are going to lie. And we're going to talk about that in a second. I didn't want to cut it so that this word snack size would get caught in that seam. Personally, I don't like it like that. I didn't mind that, the word breaking got down here, but I didn't want it to end up either where on the bag that the seam line was cutting off half the word. But that's up to you. Jan, this is fusible, but we're not fusing it, but it is sticky. And I'm going to show you all that in a second. So you want to, use this stuff, use the product that I'm using. Okay, so we're going to get started on the bag here. I also have, some cutters. I have my turning tool. I have a ruler. We're going to need that, a straight edge, because we're going to cut this bag. So I have gone ahead and I've done the first 2 steps of the design, which is putting the zipper down. The first step of the design puts 2 placement lines, just 2 parallel lines, so I know where to place my zipper. I get my zipper in place. I have the pull at the top, and I have this zipper tape even with those placement lines. Step number 2 stitches it down in place. What I want you to notice too on step number 2, you can see this little line right here. See how it juts out? Okay, that's supposed to be there. It's a centering mark. That's something I put in these zippered bags a long time ago, and it's helpful for a lot of things. And it's going to be helpful on this, getting this bag centered on here too. So we need to get our bag prepped, and we need to get ready to make the first cut of our bag. One thing I want to talk about too are the design files. So let me go back to this bag here and talk about, remember I said it was 11 inches wide. That is barely enough bag for the 6x10 zippered bag. Okay, the piece really needs to be a little bit longer so that we have room to, have a nice seam allowance. We don't want a little 1/8 inch of a seam allowance because we don't want our bag tearing out or anything like that. So I'm going to switch over to my machine. Let me wake it up, because we're going to use this kind of as a visual graphic. All right. We're going to pretend we are in software. You're not going to want to do this. You're not going to do this on your machine. Okay. I just did not want to take the time to bring software up, etc. But we're pretending this is how the bag looks in your software. And this is how it will look if you bring it in. So as I said, the bag is a little bit long this way. Okay. The width of the bag, it's a little bit long. What you can do in software is select the whole bag design. And after you've selected the whole bag design, you're going to have little, nodes. There will be nodes at the corners and probably nodes halfway between each of the sides and the top and bottom. Take the bottom node with the whole bag selected and just move it up ever so slightly, about 1/2 inch. And then you're going to be ensured that you're going to have enough of your candy bag to fit. Now, having said that, okay, I cannot guarantee that, design files will stitch correctly if you alter them. But if you are only changing the width of the bag, let me grab my bag. If you're only changing the width of this bag by 1/2 inch, it should be okay. Do not bring it into software, grab a corner and start moving it, up and down and back and forth and stuff. The problem with that becomes you throw off your zipper placements, your zipper tack downs, and the lines that stitch the fabric under the zipper and the lines that stitch the fabric above the zipper. But opening up the design in software and grabbing the whole design and just shortening it by 1/2 inch, more than likely is you're going to be fine. Okay. And sometimes you may have to do that. So that's why I wanted to show you that. And I can't remember if I did that on this zipper bag and the one I'm stitching today or not, because I did this, several weeks ago to get prepared for this. So let's go back to the project here. All right, so here's my bag. One thing you can do that might be helpful is to print a template of the bag design, because you can print it on paper. You can do that from just about any software there is, just by going to File, Print, when you have the design up on your screen, and laying it over the bag and kind of getting an idea of, where your graphics are going to end up being. Heidi, on this one, I'm changing the width, meaning when the bag is in your hoop and when it's in your software, this is how the orientation of the design is. So on this, I would change the height a little bit. And I'm only doing that because of the bag I'm using. If I hold the bag like this, then it's the width. Okay, but the bag loads in software like this. So I'm saying change the height. This is another way you can do this too, is just to get an idea of how your graphic is going to look and where you're going to want to cut your bag at, the first cut you're going to want to make. If I have my zipper already done, and again, this is one of those kind of things that if you want to do one of these bags like this, you don't want to cut all your pieces prior. Okay, this is something you're going to kind of have to play with a little bit to see how things are going to turn out with your bag, because all bags are different before you start. So if I'm at this stage in my design, I can actually take my hoop and place it over my bag to kind of see where I'm going to be able to get my graphics, in. I know that, the thing isn't going to stitch, the design won't stitch all the way down here to the hoop, the frame of the hoop, because we know all of this is not stitchable field. But I can kind of gauge about how it's going to look and where it's going to lie. And I kind of like this. Okay, I like it like this. I didn't want to cut off the snack size, because if I do that, then I'm starting to get down into the Kit Kat word. I'm starting to mess with the skeleton's head. So this is how I decide basically where I'm going to cut the bag. So first, we got to apply our vinyl fuse. This is probably going to be the trickiest, hardest part of the whole process. Norma, if you don't have to make a copy of your file, just when you rename it to save it, name it something else. Okay, so I cut a piece because I basically know that I'm only using this part of the bag here, from about snack size down to breaking for this size bag. So I cut a piece of the vinyl fuse. It has a paper backing on it. And now this side is sticky, okay? It gets a little tricky to work with. So I like to kind of leave it on the backing paper, but fold that backing paper down and figure out where I'm going to start placing this. Now I know I want to keep snack size on my bag. And I know that when I place this in the hoop on the zipper line, that eventually it's going to get stitched down and then this piece will flip over. So we have to allow for a seam allowance, basically. So I know that I'm going to be cutting this at about a 1/2 inch above snack size. So let me kind of turn this so it's easier for me to do. And again, this is going to be the hardest part of the whole thing for you, because this stuff likes to stick really quickly down. You can use a brayer. One good thing about this, and I will show you this, is if you happen to get a big wrinkle that you really don't like, again, you're going to get some wrinkles, but see, you can easily pull this up and get it back down again by using a brayer or something. Again, you are going to get a couple of wrinkles in here. Don't worry about them, because the stippling is going to hide them. Okay, so let me just fix my brayer first. There we go. And I do want to, kind of bray this down to make sure I don't have, big air bubbles in here. Well, like I said, this will probably be the hardest part of the whole thing. And just let me kind of straighten it up over here and down here a little bit. I saw a question come through about the zipper. My zipper is it's nylon. Okay, never ever use a metal zipper. So I have my vinyl fuse applied, and now the instructions will tell you to iron it down. Don't iron it down. All you're going to do is make more wrinkles in it. Okay, so leave it like this. This is going to be fine. So some people are asking the software. There are many different softwares you can use. If you're just doing some simple editing to designs, Designs and Machine Embroidery, or Dime, has a free software called Embroidery Toolshed. You can go to their website and download it and use that to shorten this design up a bit if you need to. Okay, that's if you need to. And Deborah, why am I using the vinyl fuse? Well, one thing is these bags are not that thick. They're very thin. They could tear easily. The vinyl fuse is going to protect your bag. It's going to give it a little bit more structure because, like on the bag, this is it. All we have is the bag here. There's batting underneath here, but there's no fabric, underneath here. We're using the bag. So we want to make it a little bit, sturdier. So again, if you don't like how your vinyl fuse got laid down, you just lift it up, lay it down, use a brayer, use whatever, but, don't sweat this part too much. So again, I know that I want to cut my bag a 1/2 inch above snack size because personally, I want that snack size word to be there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my ruler. I'm going to try to get my bag lined up on my mat. And let me move that so I have snack size. My ruler is sticking to that vinyl. And I'm going to go, like I said, about a 1/2 inch above the word snack size because I got to have a seam allowance. And this is where I'm going to make my cut. Now, you could use this and maybe make a key fob or something out of it. Don't just throw it away as soon as you cut it, but, hang on to it. I'm not going to cut any of the length off. I'm going to wait until this has been stitched down because possibly I might be able to use something else from this bag. Okay, so again, I've already got my zipper down. Somebody asked about the zipper. It's a number 3. I like to use Sally Tomato zippers by the yard. This one looks metallic. Let me hold it up there and turn it. See how it's shiny? It is not a metal zipper. This is a nylon zipper. It just has that look of faux metal. That's why I love them. They're really cool. And they came out with number 3s. This is a number 3, meaning it's about an inch wide. Number 5s are about 1.25 inches. Again, I've got all of my pieces here that I'm going to be using for my bag. I'm using embroidery thread. I like to use exquisite thread from Dime. I'm using a 7511 needle. I'm not using anything, special. There's nothing, really special, in my needle or my thread or my bobbin or anything like that. Okay, so after the zipper gets down, the next step is to place my lining fabric. And my lining on this bag is going to be my batt fabric. It's going to be, I'm using it for the lining. Let me just show you here. I used it on the inside. I used it at the top of the zipper and for the back. So the first thing to do is to go to the back side of the hoop to place my lining fabric. And of course, I'm going to use my new hoop and press pads. Okay, these are fantastic for in the hoop designs to help you to get your project to look the best it can be. It's going to help you with your pressing, with your taping, to have everything turn out really, really nice. I'm trying to read some questions. Can you use the number 5? You can. I've done videos about how to substitute a number 5. Maybe I can find that and put a link to that. Can you use this process using paper? I did at one point. I can't remember what I did, but I know I used something that was more papery than plastic like the bags are. So this design is in a 6x10 hoop. I'm going to use my 6x10 hoop and press pad. Hoop and press pads are available at embroiderygarden.com. We have ones for Bernina, and these are for Brother Baby Lock, but some of the hoops will fit other machines. There is some information on the webpage showing you how to measure your hoop. Okay, so the next step 3 actually, is to go to the back side of the hoop. So I'm going to put my hoop and press pad down. It has this nice rubber backing so that it doesn't move when I put it down. I'm taking my hoop and I'm turning it over and placing it on top of the hoop and press pad. So right now I've got support underneath here. So I can take my lining piece, get it where I need it to go, take my tape and tape it down, and I can press my tape down because I have support underneath here. Without the hoop and press pad underneath there, I would be pushing down on my stabilizer, making it become loose in the hoop, and I don't want to do that. So that's one of the things that the hoop and press pad can do. Let me get this lined up with that zipper line, tape it. I'm able to press down really nice and hard to get that secured in place. So now what I want to do is come to the front side of the hoop, and we're going to be placing the candy bag. Okay, so remember I talked about that little centering mark right there? I'm going to take my candy bag and I'm going to fold it in half, but I'm just kind of creasing the tip right here, just to make like a centering mark. When I unfold it, you can see just, maybe you can, but that's where I folded it. So to get it centered on the front of the bag, I'm going to take that little fold I just put in there and line it up with that little mark. Move some of the stuff out of the way. And I need to tape the bag down. Let me make sure everything's lined up. And when you tape the bag, be careful where you place your tape because, again, the bags are a little thin. And when you tape them down, when you go to take that tape off, you might rip your bag. So be very careful with tape on the candy bag. So I'm ready to put this back onto my machine. And let me get my camera put back over here on the machine too. There you go. And the next step is going to actually stitch these two pieces onto that zipper. Oops. Get everything lined up here. All right, it's going to just stitch that on. It'll be real quick. And I'm going to look and see some questions. Jeanette loves the hoop and press pads. Thank you. I know a lot of you have them. Kathy has them. They are on sale right now, so grab them. And they will make great Christmas gifts this year, I believe. Okay, you can see that is stitched. It stitched the candy bag to the zipper and that lining piece to the zipper. So let's go back to the table. So now at this point, I'm going to put my batting here. I don't need this tape here because this has been stitched down. So I'm carefully going to remove that tape so that it doesn't tear my bag. All right. On one of the bags, let me grab this one to show you. This one, I don't know if you could tell, it's a little bit thicker because I used foam in this bag. The foam I used is from Dime. They came out with a new product called Sew Any Shape. If you go to that page that I put up earlier, let me grab that link again for you. I'm going to put it in the comments here. This is where I link to all of the products that I'm talking about today. So anyway, this foam, what I really like about it is a little bit thinner than Bosal. And I find it easier to work with, especially on in the hoop designs, with it being just a tad bit thinner. And it's, it's soft, but it still gives you that structure that you need and want. So this is what I've been using in a lot of my bags lately. And it's what I used in this size bag. On this one, I use just Warm and Natural, and that's what I'm using today. So I'm going to place my piece of batting where it's supposed to go here, and I'm going to take my bag and fold it down over the top. Make sure I got my batting there correctly. And I'm just going to kind of crease this bag a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tape the bag down on the sides. Remember, you want to make sure that, you watch where you're putting that tape on the bag. You don't want to end up marring your bag any. I think that I got my batting a little bit off on that placement, but that's going to be good. So the next step is actually going to baste my bag down. It's going to do the stipple. It's going to put a line here underneath the zipper. So I'm going to get that on the machine. And then while that's stitching, I'm going to come back and answer some questions. Just get this put on here, let me get it going. These bags actually stitch pretty quickly. Just make sure everything is good. I do kind of want to hold this a little bit while it's doing that basting stitch. And my machine came unthreaded. So let me get it threaded. The needle came unthreaded. And I'll back up just a couple of stitches there to get that started again. So again, first it comes around and it bastes this front piece down. It will do like a triple stitch underneath the zipper, and it will do the stippling of the bag. So I'm just going to let it get that basting done, and we'll come back and I'll look to see any questions. Marge, if you wanted to use the vinyl fuse on other pieces of the bag, you certainly can. I've used a vinyl fuse like on my bags for the inside on the lining pieces. And that way, like if you want to make a cosmetic bag, you can wipe this clean very easily with just a damp rag. No, I don't slow the stitching down, Deborah. I run my machine basically at about 700 stitches a minute, so I don't slow it down. There's really no need to. The candy bags, they're so thin, there's really no need to slow it down. Now, if I'm using foam, what I might do, and you have to watch your machine and, see how it's stitching, I might raise the foot of my embroidery machine in the settings, a click. I do that. You'll know because you'll see it start to drag or something maybe. Barbara likes my flower. This is from the Garden Flower lace collection. It's available at embroiderygarden.com. There's many, many flowers in that set. If you look up here and you see this sign that I made, all of those flowers are made from the Garden Flower lace collection. On the other side, I have my witch hat. Let me bring it down here for you. And, here's like a lot of flowers that I kind of decorated this hat with. They are all from the Garden Flower lace collection set. I see a couple other questions come in. Can you put vinyl on top of the front? That's what I did. The vinyl is here on the front of the bag, the one that I'm stitching. Thank you, Stephanie. Yes, you put the vinyl fuse on the candy bag. I showed that just before I got that started. Can you frame the bags with fabric first? That's an option. So what Randy is talking about is, let's say you're using a bag and you want to make a 6x10 and maybe your bag is only 8 inches wide. You can, if you want, stitch fabric to the sides of the bag and use that. Personally, I don't like the look. I want the whole candy bag. So I will either change the size of zipper bag I'm making or use a different bag or something else. You know, that's a personal choice, and that's all up to you. All right, so now this is done stitching. Let me change the view. And let me get some of this other stuff again out of the way. All right, so you can see, let me kind of hold it up here. You know, the stitching did go through my word snack size. That doesn't bother me. Like I said, some people are more picky about, you know, the graphics, but I really like how the front is looking. So this is basically where my bag is going to end. You can see those stitching right here kind of going through bones. My bag will end just inside of that stitched line. So at this point, I can cut off the bag. And the reason I didn't want to cut it to begin with, because I really didn't know exactly where it was going to end. And again, the whole thing is you want to keep as much of your candy bag as you can because you can use it for other things. So let me just go ahead quickly. I'm going to cut this. I am going to leave, you know, probably about a 1/2 of an inch because I need, you know, my seam allowance at the end of the bag. So I'm just going to kind of carefully cut some off. And, you know, I could use this part here possibly for a key fob. And remember that clear area, before you would use it, all you'd have to do is put a little piece of fabric behind it there to, you know, have something in there so you wouldn't see batting or whatever might happen to be behind your candy bag. All right, so now the next step in the design is to go to the back side of the hoop. Again, this is where the hoop and press pad comes in really handy. Let me just put it over top of the pad. And this piece is stitched down, so I'm going to go ahead and take the tape off. And when you're working on in the hoop designs, you really want to press as you go. And so using the hoop and press pads is going to allow you to do that. Let me kind of get this in the frame of a little bit better. So the next step is to fold the lining piece over. And at this point, most people just fold it over, tape it down. Why I like to press is because, see, if you do that, and if I were just to tape this down, see this area here, maybe you can see it move a little bit. That's what I call the bubble. I don't like that bubble. I've seen enough in the hoop zipper bags that when you open them up, you see a little bubble there. I don't like it. So what I like to do, now that I have the hoop and press pad underneath here, I've got the support, I can actually take an iron, and now I can press this fabric nice and flat. Looks like something spooky happened there, didn't it? I saw a bunch of some kind of weird movement. But I'll show you again. So I can press here now that I got the pad underneath. And I do want to tape it down, even though I have it nice and flat. Look at that nice crisp seam there. So the inside of my bag is going to look really nice and crisp. I can tape my edges down. Get some more tape, and I'm able to press down. That is one of the best things about taping, because when you do these bags and you have to tape pieces on the back side, you want to do it and you want to make sure that that tape is secure, because how many times have we taped things on the back side and then they fall off or they shift on you? We all hate that. So the next step then is to take your next piece of lining fabric, line it up with that other zipper placement line. And again, I'm going to tape it in place. Hoop and press pad allows me to press down and get that tape really nice and secure. Don't forget, #garden. Get in on that gift certificate. So now we go to the front side of the hoop. And I'm going to use this on my bag. This one is actually going to have the purple at the top of the zipper and on the back side, and my bats are going to be my lining. Karen is asking, do I use a dry iron when you press? Yes. I never use steam when you press in the hoop because depending on the stabilizer you use, steam may shrink it and cause it to wrinkle or something. There's no need to steam, something. Just use a dry iron and press it. So I'm going to take this piece, which is actually piece E, which on some of the bags I used, candy bag. Let's kind of look at this for some of you that are wondering why I don't use it. The part of the candy bag. You can see now when I cut it, this is way too short because when it stitches the whole bag together, it's going to basically stitch right at this line, just inside of this line here and here. And look, I might have 1/8 of an inch. So this piece is just absolutely not big enough unless I added fabric to either side. And personally, I don't, like to do that. So I use fabric. This piece goes right side down, even with the right-hand side of the zipper. And I am going to tape that in place. I ran out of tape, so let me grab a little bit more here. I'll look at the questions. Bettina loves my techniques. Thank you so much. So I'm just going to tape this down. And now the next step is going to stitch the piece I have on the back side and the piece I have on the front side to the zipper. So let me go ahead and I'll let you see me putting it on the machine. Get it ready, and I can see my thread. For some reason, it got cut a little bit short again, so let me get the needle rethreaded. And that's going to start and stitch that on there. Right, Tamara. I saved my pieces. I mean, look, here's all my pieces from the bags that I had to make for samples, etc. for this. I saved those pieces because, yeah, you never know. You're making the 5x7 bag. Those pieces would work. Yeah, you do need to watch the direction of your fabric. If you use directional fabric, I've gone over that in videos before. I'm looking to see other questions. Okay, Lisa answered one. Thank you so much, Lisa. Glad you're watching today. All right, so let's get back to the design. And this piece is stitched on, so I don't need to keep the tape on. I can get that off of there. You do notice that I taped my zipper tab down. You can see that I taped that down after I got the zipper stitched in place because I don't want that swinging around. That is metal. Next step would be to take my batting, place it even with that stitch line, fold this piece over, and I'm going to get it taped down because the next step is going to stitch basically a line right here that mimics this line. And I want to have that taped down. I'm actually going to change my thread. I was using like a cream color thread to do that stipple on the bag. I'm going to change it and go to black now because I want black to finish up stitching the rest of the bag. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm threading my machine right now. Remember, the design set is on sale until the 18th at midnight Central Time. And let me just get that underneath there, get it ready. And it's just stitching a line that is holding down this top piece here and the piece of batting. And Ginger's asking, what kind of tape do I use? I like to use Transform medical tape. I get it off of Amazon. Amy, there is a link to the design set. Let me see if I still have that link. If you go to this link that I'm just posting, it takes you to everything I'm talking about. The zippered bag set, the hoop and press pads, the scissors I like to use, the vinyl fuse. It takes you to everything. Let's see. Hi, Arnell. I'm glad you're here watching too. Lucy, I'm just using regular embroidery thread. Just, I like to use Exquisite brand thread, and that's what I'm using on this bag. All right, so you can see it's stitched. Let me hold it up a little bit. Darn, I wish that purple would show up because it's really pretty. It stitched the line here. Next step, go to the back side. I'm going to put it over my hoop and press pad again. I'm going to remove the tape. Tamara, I'm using a 7511 needle. I'm not using anything special. This vinyl fuse, you can stitch through it, and the candy bag is just, it's very thin. So the next step in the design is to take this small lining piece, fold it over, and again, I want to use my iron. I have my hoop and press pad underneath, so it's allowing me the support I need to press that down. You can see how nice and crisp. Looks like my camera's doing that spooky thing again. I got that seam very nice and crisp. I do want to tape this in place on the edges. Now, this next step in the design, I need to trim this piece of stabilizer from behind the design here. Underneath that stabilizer is the zipper. And to be able to have access into my bag, I want to, I need to get this piece of stabilizer out. So I'm going to take my small little scissors, and these are the scissors I like to use. I like to use these little Kai ones. And with that press and hoop pad underneath here, I have the support I need that I can just easily get my scissors in here and trim this piece out. It looks like that spooky movement has come back again. Not sure what that is all about. It is the spooky season though. And you can see how easily I trimmed out that piece of stabilizer. This allows me to be able to get into my bag with, if I didn't cut out that piece of stabilizer, it would be right there when I was trying to get into my bag. So I need to go to the front side of the hoop. And the next step is to unzip the zipper halfway. Sharon is asking about my iron. Actually, my iron, it's sitting off over here on my right side on a stool right now. And that's because I'm kind of cramped in my little area here that I am. It might look like it's kind of a big area to you watching this, but it's really a smaller area. And I have it sitting over here on a stool, basically to keep it out of my way. If I put it on my table, me moving around, I'm afraid I would knock it into my lap or something. So that's why I have mine just here off to the side a little bit. So let's get back to the design. And the next step, of course, is to unzip that zipper halfway. We don't want to forget doing that. And grab the pull. And halfway, whoops, sorry about that again, that movement. Don't know what that is. Unzip that zipper halfway there. The next step will be to take my back fabric, and the back of my bag is going to be the spider fabric, and place it right side down over the front of the hoop. Take my batting or my foam, if I were using foam, and place it down. And the next step is going to attach this, these two pieces over here on this edge. Let's get to the machine so you can see that getting on. I want to make sure that nothing has fallen off the backside of my hoop. And since I was able to use my hoop and press pad, and I was able to apply pressure, my pieces, I don't believe, are going to fall off. A visiting ghost carol? Probably. It is spooky time. Someone is asking about the hoop and press pads in the UK. Ashley, if you're still on here, Ashley is a lead Dime educator. And I thought that Dime had a representative overseas. I'm not 100% sure, but if Ashley's here, she can let you know about that. Remember, hashtag garden, because we're going to be picking that $20 gift card to Embroidery Garden as soon as the video is done. So let me go and take this off so you can see it. So it attached the pieces here. Last step. Sherry, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Whoa. I'm not sure what you're talking about, a placement stitch for something. You don't really need, the placement stitch on this design is for the zipper. You really don't need a placement stitch for anything else. So the last step is to take the lining fabric, which is the last piece, place it right side down over the back side of the hoop. Again, I'm on top of my hoop and press pad. Darn, I got a wrinkle there, but I'm on my hoop and press pad, so I could iron it if I wanted to right here. And I do want to tape this piece down. We always want to tape down the pieces on the back side of the hoop. I could pin it. Sometimes I like to pin, but I'll just go ahead and tape it today. I need a few more pieces of tape. And let me tape up here. Let me get it down here. And let's see, I need one more. Trying to look for questions too. Yeah, Ashley said there is a distributor overseas. So if you are overseas and want hoop and press pads, you can certainly get them. So this has been taped to the back side. I'm ready to put this on the machine. I want to make sure that everything stays nice and flat when I get this on the machine for the last step. What it's going to do now, it's going to stitch around, and I can show you. It's going to stitch around, leaving an opening here where that last step stitched. I always hate to turn my head when something's stitching in the hoop because we don't know what's going to happen. Someone just said, Janet, you're going to try it with maps. I have seen it done with maps. I remember now what I did before when someone asked about paper, using, paper. I used a pattern, like an old, like McCall's pattern or something. And it was, it turned out really cute because the vinyl fuse protected, let me grab it. The vinyl fuse protected that paper. And I made a little zipper bag out of an actual old pattern, not the tissue paper part of the pattern, but the paper instructions part of the pattern I used. We just want to make sure nothing's going on crazy over there. I'm looking to see what some things that people are asking. Okay, and it's almost done stitching and we're going to take it out of the hoop. And if you guys have any ideas for other demos you'd like to see, remember, send me an email and I'll see what I can do. I've done a demo every month this whole year. I did one every month last year. So if you have ideas, let me know. All right, so it is done stitching. It's ready to come out of the hoop. Let's see. I was going to say something and then forgot. All right, let me just get this out of the way. Hopefully that camera's not going to start that weird movement. One thing that I like to do on the bags, whether you're using warm and natural batting or you're using the foam, you want to trim it close to the stitching. And the reason you do that is to keep it out of the seam. You want to keep it out of the corners so that your corners poke out nice. I personally like to use these little scissors. I can do it better and closer. See how much closer I got than when I use the big scissors. I personally just like these little scissors. And I like to turn it as I get the batting out of the way. The same thing, the foam cuts so nicely and quickly. I can basically put my blade in and just kind of, like move it upwards and cut the foam off. But again, this is keeping all the bulk out of the seams and out of the corners. And I'll tell you something too with that foam that you, the Sew Any Shape foam. You might think, oh, it's thicker, it's going to make something harder to turn. It doesn't. It turns beautifully. I'm going to go back and kind of clean that up a little bit. Everyone has their own preference of scissors. These little ones, I can just do better with those. Okay, so now I'm going to turn it over to the other side to find that opening. Might be hard to see because there's white thread, but the opening is right here. So I always start at the opening because you want to leave this fabric here longer because this is where you're going to have to turn fabric in to hide your opening when you're done. Mary, these little scissors, these are the Kai 4-inch curved scissors. You can see they're curved there at the top. These are, I think these are, let me measure here. These are 10-inch shears. These are the 7550 Kai scissors. I just love Kai scissors. So let me go ahead and I make my first 2 cuts right at the edges of the opening. I'm only cutting to about a 1/4 inch. I'm not cutting all the way to that stitching. And now I'm going to trim the entire bag a 1/4 inch past the stitching. Now, when I get to the zipper, and here's the zipper end right here sticking out, I don't like to cut that at a 1/4 inch. The problem is if you cut this zipper short, if you've ever had a bag and the zipper kind of pulled out at the edge, it's because the zipper's cut too short. So I got some tape stuck here. What I'm going to do is I'm cutting the fabrics in front of and behind the zipper. And let me get this out of my way here. I'm cutting those a 1/4 inch. Cutting all that fabric a 1/4 inch. Let me get behind the zipper. Okay, so I've cut that. Everything's cut a 1/4 inch except my zipper ends. I'm gonna cut those about a 1/2 inch. They don't have to be sticking out, as much as they are right now, but I like them to stick out a little bit. Same thing I do with if I add tabs or straps and they get stitched into the seam. I don't cut them off short. I leave them a little bit longer. So here's my zipper over here on this side. I'm going to do the exact same thing. I got tape kind of stuck there. I'm cutting the fabrics, the batting and everything a 1/4 inch. And I'm leaving the zipper ends a little bit longer. Again, about about a 1/2 inch. And then now I can finish trimming the bag. So what I like to do too is, let me get this trimmed a little bit better. On these corners, the bags have rounded corners. You can clip into the corners. I usually put about 3 little clips in there. You can notch them out if you want. Just don't cut into that stitching. By clipping or notching, that just kind of lets those corners relax out a little bit, lets that fabric relax a little bit, your batting, and you can push them out nicer. Okay, so now I just have the opening left. And, maybe it needs to be about 1 inch long. It doesn't need to be real long, so I can get rid of all that. This is lining. This is the bat fabric was my lining. This piece here is my lining. And I only need these 2 pieces. These are the ones that make up my opening. This stuff back here, this stabilizer, this batting, the candy bag, and this other fabric, that can all be cut off. I cut that down a 1/4 inch. That gets rid of some more bulk down there. And I still have my opening to turn the bag. So I'm just going to reach in, turn the bag. You need a little tool to, push your corners out. I'm trying to read questions as I see this. Jan, Jennifer wants to know what mat has 1/2 inch lines on it. I've seen several mats with 1/2 inch increments. This one happens to be a Martelli mat. but you can find them at a lot of places. So I like to take my fingers first and get the corners pushed out as much as I can. You know, I've been doing this technique, double turn on my bags for forever, if you've been following me. After I get it kind of pushed out with my fingers, I do like to use a turning tool. This is the R&K tool that I absolutely love. And get that in there and get the corners out really nicely. You know, take the time and poke your corners out when you know, are turning something. It really is going to show in your finished design if you didn't take the time to do it. All right, so all these are pushed out. I kind of like to press my bags at this point. You know, press the one side and press the other side. Not going to do that today, but you're going to take the ends that you left longer, turn them in, both sides, and you can either hand sew it closed or you can use fusible tape. Forgot to get my fusible tape out today, but just make sure they're nice and even. Get them folded in there evenly. And, you know, you can use the tape to close this up or hand sew it again. And then the last step is just to get that zipper fully opened and now turn it again. And what I like to do is with this candy bag in here, I like to go to a corner and get that corner turned first. Get the other corner turned. And then just kind of finish turning the bag. Of course, I want to use my turning tool. Get these corners poked out nicely. And look how nice that corner looks, if you can see that. And it's because I clipped into those corners, you know, to relax that fabric. I got a piece of tape stuck right there. I can pull that out. And a thread hanging here. And then just go ahead and get your other corners pushed out. And then I kind of like to finger press the bag, close that zipper. You can press the bag from the back side. If you're pressing from the front side, do not hit your iron onto this. Even though this stuff, you know, is ironable, we put the vinyl fuse on top. I put a press cloth over this part of the bag, and then I'm only basically ironing this top portion here. But you can see the bag is done. It's all fully lined inside. I don't know if you can see how nicely my lining lays here at the edges of the zipper because I was able to press it using the hoop and press pad. Remember, hoop and press pads, you can get them in a bundle of 4 different sizes, 5x7. This is the 6x10. I have the 8x8 and 8x12. You can get them individually or in a bundle. Or you can see behind me, there are the 3 Bernina pads right now. Those are the oval ones. Those are about the only machines that, you know, have an oval shaped hoop. Let me show you my bag again. Darn, I still wish that purple would show up and not show up blue. But basically, that's how you do it. You can see how the graphic ended up. If I press it a little bit too, you know, it's going to look a little bit nicer. But I like that I got snack size in and not cut off. The skeleton, there's still enough portion of his hat that it looks like a hat. Kit Kat, you know, that's the main part is there. And so I think it turned out great. Let's see. Kathy is asking about hoop and press pads for the magnetic hoops, Dime's magnetic hoops. You really don't need them for a Dime magnetic hoop. And I got one of my Dime hoops right here. And the reason you don't need them for these hoops, they're basically flat. Now I do have the carrier, I can't remember what it's called, but there's a handle in there to keep the 2 pieces separated, the magnets separated. But when the hoops are together, it's pretty flat. So when you turn it over to press, you know, be a little bit careful, but you're not, it doesn't require the hoop and press pad because on our traditional hoops, let me get it together here a little bit. You can see, let me just put this one together. You can see see you can see here, see there's depth here. And that's what causes the problem. When you place it upside down and then you're working on the back side, without the hoop and press pad underneath there, you're pressing that stabilizer. And every time you press on it, you're moving it, you're shifting it, you're taking a chance of, shifting your design. I taught so many years, like 5 or 6 years, and I would see women in class, just pressing on that stabilizer when we were on the back side. And some people even popping stuff out of their hoop because they were pressing so hard. But okay, this is your last chance to get #garden for the drawing. I'm going to be picking that person live here in just a second. Lisa, if you get the standard pads, you go to the link there. Let me grab that link real quick here. This is the link for the hoop and press pads. And if you go to the one that says standard pads, there are only the ovals or the rectangular ones. Just go to those. And if you have Baby Lock Bernina, you're good to go. All right. Hi, Connie. Thank you so much. Get that #garden in. One thing I did not mention at the beginning that I forgot, on November 15th, Dawn from Creative Appliques and I are going to be doing another Technique Tuesday. You might have seen our notebook one that we did, etc. But Dawn and I are going to partner up again, and we're going to bring you another one on November 15th. Watch for the information, the announcements to be made on that. Dawn's going to show you how to do a really cute gift card holder from her website. And I'm going to show you how to stitch this cute little elf favor. You can use them at tables, set it on the plate at the holidays. There are other characters in the set. He's kind of got a real cool way that we attach the little tool to it so that it's easy to open up. This one has M&Ms in it. You can put any kind of candies in it. It's just a really cute little thing to set at the table. This will be November 15th. And you can reuse them. So the R&K turning tool, where did I get it? They're a little bit hard to find. You can try a Google search. Some places I know that you can get them. Quality Sewing you can order from. Sewing Machines Plus you can order from. They're hard to find, but just Google R&K precision turning tool and see who has them in stock. They're kind of hard to keep in stock. I'm going to go to the giveaway tool I'm just going to the giveaway thing to make sure that it was going to work for me. I'm going to share the screen. It looked like StreamYard did something different. Instead of share, they call it present. And let me get the giveaway tool in. All right, we're going to pick the winner live. Here we go. I'm going to click draw. Here are all the names flashing. Who's it going to land on? It's a $20 gift card to embroiderygarden.com. And the winner is Linda Dexter. Woohoo! Congratulations, Linda. So, Linda, just send me an email and I will drop that gift card into your account. I know you're a customer of mine, and I can just drop it right into your account. Shirley is asking about the wall hanging behind me. That is a panel from Northcott. I'm trying to look and see if there are any other questions before I wrap it up today. Thank you again for joining me. If you got ideas for the November demo, let me know. Send me an email. But I want to thank you all for joining me. Remember, you can rewatch this on Embroidery Garden's Facebook page or Embroidery Garden's YouTube channel. All right, I don't see any other questions. Thanks, everyone, for joining me. Have a great day.